Hi everyone and welcome to the Top 10 Wonders YouTube channel. The Top 10 Mysterious Disappearances in the Alaska Triangle. The area famed for Bigfoot sightings, disappearing planes, paranormal events, and extraterrestrial abduction is situated between Utqiagvik, Anchorage, and Juneau, and it still gives specialists nightmares. The Alaska Triangle has a much more significant percentage of unexplained disappearances than its cousin, the Bermuda Triangle, although it receives much less attention and exposure. From the numerous cases, we explore the top 10 unexplained disappearances connected to the Alaska Triangle out of the countless cases. 10. Richard Lyman Griffiths. Richard Lyman Griffiths is renowned for creating a wilderness survival cocoon and attempting to prove its usefulness. The summer of 2006 appeared to be the ideal period for him to achieve this. His reasons for departing into the wilderness of southeast Alaska weren't questioned. Before anyone reported him missing, it had been more than a year. After an inquiry, it was determined by the authorities that he was left off by a bus along the Alaska Highway, where he had booked into a lodge close to the White River. He told a few individuals that he was going to go camping in McCarthy, a tiny hamlet close to the Street Elias National Park, and he left part of his equipment here. Richard left for the hills though, and he never came back. Most assumed he was exploring his forest hideaway, and nobody contacted him for several months to see how he was doing. 9. Alan Foster. Even though he may not be a well-known person, Alan Foster is included in the list of those who have vanished without explanation in the Alaska Triangle. Alan was the pilot of a Piper P-832-260 on September 9, 2013, which was reported missing while flying over the Alaska Triangle region. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, Alan was following a visual flight rules flight plan when he ran out of fuel at Yakutat and had to continue flying until 3:30 p.m. Even so, he informed Juneau Flight Service that, if necessary, he would make a stop in Cordova. The radar showed Alan's plane lowering to roughly 1,100 feet before disappearing. But 18 minutes after departure, somewhere between Malaspina Glacier and the Gulf of Alaska, the radar showed Alan's plane disappearing. Alan Foster vanished without a trace, and as of the time of writing, neither of his body's fragments nor the aircraft has been located. Alan was experienced, thus it seems strange that he vanished. 8. Frank Bonano. Frank Bonano, a traditional teacher and mentor on hunting, subsistence living and culture, was reported missing from Bonano on August 17, 2020. He became one of the tens of thousands of victims of the deadly Alaska Triangle. When it comes to Bonano's disappearance, not much is known. The only information the authorities have on him is that he sought refuge at a neighboring cabin on the day he was reported missing. Yet, many years later, his remains are entirely undetectable. Sadly, the mystery surrounding this disappearance is similar to that surrounding most of the Alaska Triangle's victims. Not much is known, yet individuals keep going missing. 7. Leonard Lane. Leonard Lane, a 73-year-old World War II veteran, was still alive at his disappearance. Leonard was reported missing on July 4, 1995, during a parade in Fairbanks. He disappeared while out for a stroll in the Alaska Triangle. He was reportedly hobbling when last seen, most likely due to combat injuries, according to those who had seen him. Police had no clues as to what could have happened to Leonard, as is typical of the other incidents where persons have inexplicably vanished at the Alaska Triangle. He was pronounced legally dead 2 years later, in 1997, but his case has never been resolved. 6. Thomas Anthony Nuzzi. A well-known nurse named Thomas Anthony Nuzzi went all around Alaska, taking up various shifts in various places. He had a promising career and the ideal form of transportation, but he lacked a permanent address. Knowing where someone is constantly moving around might be challenging unless they want you to know. In 2001, the work was made more difficult. But it wouldn't be difficult for a boss to catch wind of a missing employee, which is precisely what happened. Nuzzi was residing at a Super 8 motel in Anchorage when he went missing after failing to arrive for work in Bethel, Alaska, just a short flight away. The night before he went out, Nuzzi was reportedly seen at a petrol station purchasing a pack of cigarettes, a lighter, chips, and Pepsi. The allegations also indicate that he was with a woman. Some members of the Super 8 hotel personnel who were questioned said that another guy was seen in Nuzzi's room on the same night that he vanished. 5. Shanna OBrien. In the early afternoon of June 3, 2019, Shanna OBrien disappeared after leaving her friend's home in Fairbanks, Alaska. After her visit, Shanna's companion left her off near her home in Nico River. Her companion decided Shanna was all right until she was far out of sight. Nevertheless, a few hours later, Shanna's roommate contacted the friend she had visited earlier to say that she had not returned home. The officials searched the region after opening a missing persons report. Although it seems cliché, Shanna was never again seen. Nobody knows what happened to her after she walked away from her friend's house. In any case, she adds to the list of enigmatically disappearing people in the Alaska Triangle. 4. Paul Michael Lemator. 65-year-old marathoner Paul Michael Lemator was taking part in the 85th running of the Mount Marathon race for the first time when he vanished without a trace. Typically, it takes runners around 3.5 miles to run up the heavily wooded mountain while negotiating streams. Like any other race, the Mount Marathon race has its fair share of difficulties, but none of them includes an unexpected disappearance, like in Lemator's case. A race official last saw Lemator. He remembers seeing him get up at the turnaround point, about 200 feet from the finish line. The official claimed that despite the foggy conditions, he could not notice any problems with the runner. Lemator responded with 548, indicating that he was still awake when asked for his bid number. Lemator, however, was never seen or heard from again after this. The efforts of state troopers, search dogs, and mountain rescue specialists were all in vain. Was the fog a part of the sinister plot of Alaska's Triangle to capture its target? Nobody is certain. 3. Jail Tara Hamblin. Jail Tara Hamblin was reported missing on October 11, 2014, in what appears to be a combination of homicide and the mysterious dark forces of the Alaska Triangle. She was last seen in the Trailside Loop region in southern Anchorage, Alaska. Hamblin considered going out again after dinner with her roommate, Kendra Vincent Estrada, but since it was after 10 p.m., her roommate decided to sleep. According to reports, Hamblin was furious the previous night due to problems in her connection with an unknown male. She chose to text a different man and ask if they might get out. He appeared to accept. Unfortunately, tragic events occurred when Estrada could not get to Hamblin on the phone. Strange events may have occurred on the night the two left, but considering that we are discussing the Alaska Triangle, anything is possible. There is no indication of Hamblin's remains or whereabouts, other than her purse and car, which were later found. 2. 1950 Douglas C-54D. In the early hours of January 26, 1950, Robert S., a master sergeant in the U.S. Air Force, waved farewell to his wife without realizing it would be their final interaction while still alive. The Douglas C-54D Skymaster was ready to take off for Montana when Robert and the other 43 passengers boarded it. All airborne aircraft must maintain regular contact with the airport's operators. After his departure, this Skymaster immediately cut off all connections, though. As luck would have it, their loved ones never made it to Minnesota, where friends and family were waiting. 1. The Disappearance of US Reps, Nick Begich and Hale Boggs. You are mistaken if you believe the Alaska Triangle targets little fish. In reality, the two most powerful men in the nation at the time, Hale Boggs, the majority leader of the House from Louisiana, and Nick Begich, a congressman from Alaska, were among the first casualties. The two had set out on a voyage with their helpers, crossing Alaska's Juneau and Anchorage. However, their small jet disappeared midair, forcing the government to mobilize all resources to find the aircraft. The task was completed many months later, when neither victims nor plane wreckage was found. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go.